This is the most natural passive income transition from flipping to private money lending. It fits perfectly because it's the same thing we're doing. Now, instead of borrowing private money, we're lending private money to flippers.
The Real Estate Funding Kit is out now. Learn how to get 100% funding for all your deals without dealing with the banks. Claim your free copy at myfundingkit.com.
And let me just show you a comparison of just how awesome this is, if you don't believe me. We're gonna do a comparison between rentals and private money. Let's say that Julio goes out there, gets his business going, and in the next couple years, he just crushes it. And he's flipping houses and he's hitting his goals. And let's say that he raises $2 million in after-tax money that he wants to reinvest in long-term wealth. And he says, you know what, I'm gonna go buy 20 rentals, free and clear, no mortgages, at $100,000 each. I'm gonna get out of low income, I'm gonna get nice little 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, little brick ranches. They rent for $1,000 a month. And then that's your rent. And let's say that your total cost, taxes, insurance, property management, vacancy is $500 a month. Does that sound about right? So what's your cash flow? $500 a month times 20 is how much? 10,000 a month, which is how much a year? 120,000. Now I'm making some assumptions here that what? Everything goes great. There's no problems. You don't have a tenant that destroys a property and you got to go in there and spend 20,000 fixing it back up. I'm not considering any kind of capital improvements like a new roof or any of those things. Which are those things real? Do those things happen with rentals? You better believe it. I'm assuming that everything goes great. You're occupied all year long and you get 120 in cash or in cash flow out of the year. Now let's compare that. So set that aside. Let's take that same $2 million and let's lend it at 12% and 2 points, and then we do 6-month loans. So what does that mean if it's a 6-month loan on our points? So we're actually getting 4 annually because you're getting 2 points every 6 months. So that means if someone goes past 6 months and they need to extend the loan, what do they have to pay? 2 more points for another 6 months. So what are you earning now? What's your interest on $2 million at 12%? 240? Okay, so you're earning 240 in interest, and your points you're earning how much? 80, because you're getting 4 points on $2 million annually. So what does that put us at? 320? Which one is passive? Is this one passive? No, I don't care what anybody tells you, it's not passive. Everybody tells you it's passive, but is it? It's not passive, because if it's passive, the minute you turn your back on it, what happens? Problem, 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 problem. Okay, this one you bought yourself a headache because you got 20 rentals to manage. This is passive. Now, could somebody default? Yeah, if you lent right, hopefully that never happens. Should you know how to lend money? Why? That's what we're doing. That's what we do over here. This is the most natural passive income transition from flipping to private money lending. It fits perfectly because it's the same thing we're doing. Now, instead of borrowing private money, we're lending private money to flippers. We're not crossing strategies and going from flipping to renting, which is a totally different animal. And what's the income difference? How hard is it to keep $2 million busy on the streets? I could do it just by myself. So maybe you've got a couple flippers that you work with that you really like, they're good at what they do, that's it. You got a couple flippers, you're lending them your $2 million, you're being smart, you're making sure that you're not over lending, you're only doing deals. Do you know how to evaluate a deal to know if it's a good deal to lend on? Yeah, that's what you do. That's what we've been doing. It's easy now. We know how to comp a property, we know what's a good deal. We know if they're off on their numbers, because we've been doing that. Who thinks this is cool? This is your passive income long-term strategy. Your goal needs to be flip your brains out, make a ton of money, and reinvest as a private money lender. Here's where I decided that I'm not doing rentals. I had a property that was earning, it was $6,000 a year was my cash flow. So what would that be? 500? So I'm getting $500 a month, $6,000 a year in cash flow. That's my cash flow, so after everything. And I had a tenant that was paying me like clockwork, and I went 2 years of payments on time every single month. It was like the dream rental. It's like the textbook rental. I'm like, this is awesome. 2 years goes by, so how much have I earned in cash flow? 12,000. Property goes vacant, tenant decides to move out. I go in the property, needs 15,000 in work to get it rent ready again. needed carpet paint and some other stuff. So they've been living in there for 2 years. Guess what you need to do on a rental property every single year when they leave? New carpet and new paint. New carpet and new paint is your cash flow for the whole year. Every single year, you got to do that. Because every single year, the carpet and paint need replaced. So tell me how this is a smart model. Tell me how this makes sense to anybody. Makes absolutely no sense to me. I do not subscribe to the rental model. And if it's not that, it's something else. It means next year I'm going to need a new roof. It means the hot water heater went out. They flushed tampons down the toilet, and now I got to put a new toilet in because the thing's a mess. Like, right? This is owning rental property. It's a headache. But what's our goal? I want lifestyle. Private money lending, this lends to the ideal lifestyle because it's low drama. Who pays for all the fees to put the loans together and all of that? So every private money lender and hard money lender, on top of your points and interest, what else do you pay for? Loan origination and all of that. And who do those people hire? An attorney that drafts the paperwork, and the borrower pays it. So do you have any overhead doing this model? In fact, if you lend right, you win more when they default. Why? You get back what? The property, and if you lent right, then there's equity, and you know what to do with it now. So what do you do with it? Flip it. So even if you lose, you win on this model. You lose here and you lose big. Now, I will be fair, because I'm not being totally objective here. What are the benefits of rental properties? Because there are some big benefits. Taxes, that's a huge one. Why? Rental income is taxed at a lower rate than capital gains. This is capital gains. So we are going to be paying capital gains on this income. This one's not. What do you get to write off with rentals? Depreciation. That's huge, because you can write off a lot of that on your taxes. And then there's a third one, which is appreciation. What these rentals you bought for 100, what are they worth in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? Hopefully they're going up in value. If you ever sell those things down the road, you've got all this money. But I think appreciation is offset by capital improvements. So whatever I gain in appreciation, I'm going to be paying back when I have to do a roof and new furnace and all of that, I think. But that's not what rental people tell you. They tell you, oh no, it's going to appreciate, and your tenants are paying down and then what rental people tell you is, hey, don't do this. Take that $2 million and leverage and buy how many? Buy 200 of them and put 20% down. Now you got 200 nightmares on your hand with mortgages. Who wants that? No, thank you. Well, we're lending this every 6 months, so are we ever going to get caught in a bad market where now these rentals we bought for 100 are now worth 80? Hopefully not, because every 6 months, what are we reevaluating? Yeah, our lending criteria, because we're going to adjust based on the market, because that's what we do when we flip, isn't it? We adjust our numbers because we watch the market. So for fun, what would 10 million look like? $1 million. It's $1 million. So I'm building my fund out of it's a solo 401, but it's for high income earners. So it allows me, if you meet the income requirements, it allows me to contribute $60,000 a year and my wife. So I'm able to grow it by contributing $120,000 a year tax free. It's tax free because I pay the tax before I put it in, because I'd rather pay it now than later, because taxes are only going to be more later. And so I'm strategically building my fund. Now, what's cool too, there's ways where you can then, like let's say you lend out on it, you put that money back in, and now your new principal changes. So what happens as you start lending the money and you're putting, let's say you don't need that 320, and you put all 320 back in. Now you have 2,320,000. Next year you're going to have 2,000,007. Next year you're going to have, you see what I mean? And because that's called compound interest. Here's the thing, guys. Those who understand interest earn it. Those who don't, pay it.